Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today I have the beautiful Johanna from Ireland, and she's done something absolutely magnificent. And as I said, on Facebook and other spaces of my social media, I really wanted to do a book review on her beautiful story, Rescue Tales, which I received via, would you believe, it's traveled the world. It's gone Ireland, Scotland, Australia, New Zealand. That's incredible. So it was just fortunate I had someone in Scotland, and I said to Johanna, can you send it to Alice in Scotland and she can bring it back to Australia, and it would save a lot on all the postage, and you've got to declare tariffs and things like that to get it sent. And I just thought it was easy to do that. So thanks for doing that. So I just want to get started on how I know Johanna. Now, how long have we known each other? Probably about 5 years.
At least 5 years.
Yeah. So we started off in different groups doing meditation, doing consciousness work, that kind of thing. And I had a YouTube channel, I had a Facebook, and we went from there. And then I created these groups, and Johanna has always been a supporter of my work. And so it's my turn to repay her by supporting this magnificent book. So, what I'd like to do, first of all, is introduce you by you telling us a little bit about who you are and how this beautiful journey came about.
Okay, as you said, you introduced me as Johanna. I'm from the west of Ireland in Ennis, County Clare, and I am the mother of three children. And I work here in Ennis, and I work in Kilkee, which is West Clare, as a psychotherapist. My main work is psychotherapy, but I also do other work as bioenergy, kinesiology, and I have a passion and love for animals.
That shows. Your passion shows, huh? Thanks very much for that. So how did the idea of this book come about? What made you decide to do something so amazing for a charity?
Okay. In 2018, I met Katrina, who owns Hilltop Sanctuary. I met her many years ago. She was always going around feeding stray horses. And sometimes she would put up a post that if someone wanted to buy, say, a bale of hay donate a bale of hay for €6, we could. So I got to know her that way by donating some money for hay. And then in 2018, she rescued a little dog. And I saw her put a picture of the dog that she just rescued. It was in someone's arms. And I remember thinking, that's my dog. And I contacted, yeah, she is. I contacted her and said, I'll give that dog a home. And so after a few weeks, of the dog being dewormed and looked after, she brought the dog to me. A friend of hers brought the dog to me. And I, as I said in the book, lovingly named him Seamus.
Oh, it's such a beautiful story. I love your story about Seamus and Molly and Jessie.
Yes, Jessie. Jessie had died. My old dog had died at about 15 or 16 years of age, a year beforehand. And I actually felt it was time now to give another soul a loving home. And that's why when I saw Seamus, I thought, that's the next dog.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And it's amazing how when we're looking for another member of the family like that, it just sort of comes together. The
Yes.
same thing just happened to me recently with adopting Marla. And, I lost Pepper in November, and within 4 weeks, I had to get another one. I just couldn't stand living with just without, I love my cats around me. So that just turned out perfectly fine. And she's just slotted in so well, as if she's just part of the family. So, and she'd had something like 5 kittens. She'd been feeding 5 kittens, and there were about 3 other cats where she came from, and there were 15 kittens between them, and they were all wet nurses taking turns with all the kittens, and she was just skin and bone when I picked her up.
Yes.
So, and I said to the lady at the SPCA here, I said, you can be assured she's going to get a good home. I'll look after her. And she said, I can see that. So I was really thrilled. Okay, so you met you met together and you got Seamus, and then you've kept the friendship going. And then you've decided, well, I want to help here because she's doing such a good cause with her animal rescue and retreat. And I love her story in here. For
Yes, it's
those that are
lovely.
getting the book, it's in the very beginning and it's about her story, and about how, was it a horse or a donkey first that she
It
got?
was a pony, a little pony, a horse.
Pony, yeah. So what happened was she went to a fortune teller, and the fortune teller told her that down the track she would be working with horses, and she went away like most people do, thinking, "Oh yeah, whatever, what a load of
Yeah,
rubbish." But it
yeah,
has actually happened, and she's actually purchased her own piece of land for this work now, and really going ahead with it. And this is amazing because, if you manifest it, it will happen. You can
yeah,
do anything with the power of the love of what you're doing, your passion, your purpose. And that's what I love about it. Even her full story, how it all just came about and fell into place. It's,
yes.
stopping on the side of the road and talking to a horse and saying, I'm going to
Mm.
help you.
Yes.
It
And
was
she
on.
continued that for years. That's how people got to know Katrina. And because you'd always see her early in the morning giving hay to any horse or animal that was actually in a field that she noticed that didn't have food or water. She would have water in the back of her car, she'd have hay in the back of her car.
I love that. That's just so
Yeah.
beautiful. And I love the bit about, I actually made a note of it somewhere here. I think you wrote about it. Yeah. This book is to highlight, to remind you, and or to reinforce force to all of you the love animals give to us. It is also to raise awareness that there are so many animals in need of a loving and caring home. If you or someone you know is looking for a pet, adopt one from a rescue centre or visit your local pound. I thought that's really good advice. Instead of going to a pet shop and paying for something, and the rescues make the best pets anyway.
They do. They're old souls.
I just love it. And I think, between the two of you, you're both doing a great service. You're providing the support through the book while
Mm.
Katrina looks after the animals. And I just love how that is sort of happening in a way where you can both do it and still carry on your daily lives and have this as something to support one another on the side. I think,
Yes,
it shows you can do anything and you don't have to just be stuck to one thing. You can help in other areas of other people's lives. And I think that's just beautiful. Okay, so did you have the design ready or
Um,
anything in mind? How did it come about?
well, it's at the beginning of the book when Katrina was given her story about when she went to the fortune teller said that she actually could see her coming out of the forestry with two with horses and a lantern, and so that is the front cover
That's the
of
cover.
the book.
I was going to
Yes,
ask
that
you if that
basically
was
is
the cover.
Katrina coming out of
Yeah.
the forestry. And I wanted something like that because that's what the book was about, her story of coming out of the forestry in the dark with horses and a lantern. And
Uh,
so we designed it. Katrina did a lot of work on this. She designed the cover. And then what I did was I brought it to the publishers and they did it for me. And then I went, can you put a lantern on it? And it was brilliant. They actually put a lantern in her hand.
oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, as soon as I saw it and I'd read the story about, coming out through the dark woods and rescuing the horses, I actually said here, did the title come about or the cover first? So what was it?
Yeah.
Title first or cover?
Title first. Yeah.
And then I
The
said,
title first. Yeah.
is that Katrina heading the horses out of the darkness?
Yes. It is. That's
Got it.
Katrina because her story came then and about her coming out of the forestry. And I went, why don't we do something like that? Her coming out of the forestry.
And it's really clever how you've said tales as in animal tales, not
Yes.
tales as in story tales.
Stories. Yes.
And so if I don't know if anyone's noticed it, it's rescue tales.
Yeah.
So, what kept you motivated during the process? Because as an author and writer myself, it's a lonely experience because you're spending a lot of hours on your own, sort of, editing, typing, putting it together. So, how did you keep yourself
Yes.
motivated?
Well, there were times I just broke down and cried because I remember I was working on this computer, and the computer, I had maybe 50 pages done, and the computer crashed each time, and I actually lost everything. And I remember crying. I'm just going, I'm not doing this anymore. I just can't do this anymore, because I was doing it after work, maybe 2 or 3 hours after work. And then I just got this thought in my head: this isn't about you. This isn't about you. This isn't about your tiredness, and this isn't about your tears. This is about helping the animals, and being the voice for the animals. So dry your tears, bring the computer down, the computer guy to fix it, which he did. And then I went back on track again. There was
Uh,
too much. My computer is very old, so there was too much in it, so it kept crashing. And so he saved an awful lot of information onto another hard drive. And so it didn't crash since. So that was probably October, when that happened, and I just thought I really want it out before Christmas. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
onwards and upwards.
it worked perfectly. Good deadline.
Mm.
Because like you, I had, I think, my first and second book on an old laptop, and the second one, Guiding Light, kept crashing on me too, especially when I was doing inserting a picture or something, and that made it
Yes.
think harder.
Mm.
And then as it put the picture in, it just kept crashing. And I was like you, there were days when I wanted to give up, but I knew I had to have it out by a certain date because I was leaving Australia. And I knew
Mm.
I had to have the book completed and ready to take with me. And
Mm.
I was really putting pressure on myself. And there were days when I was moving house, packing, getting the book finished. And there were days I just sat with my head in my hands thinking, what was I thinking?
Yes,
But you know what?
exactly.
You get through it because
Yes.
that's your service to humanity and to help others. And then in this case, it's to help the beautiful animals. But
Yeah.
not only that, your story with this book doesn't just help animals, the animals sometimes rescue the person.
Yes,
And
which
that's
happened in my case.
absolutely beautiful, that these beautiful, magnificent animals can do
Mm.
that. What was your favorite part of the process?
Um, I, I think all of it was a favorite part. It was reading the books, reading the other stories. Every single story I read rescued the animal, rescued their owners. The animal gave so much love back to the owner. Even some of the people who wrote a story for the book said, I don't even think I'm doing justice to their pet by the story. And yet, when you read the story, you would cry, you will laugh, you would cry again, and you laugh again. You know, animals are just such beautiful souls.
Yeah, I agree. And, I've been the same, reading I've got a list of the stories here that I've been sort of really taken from and got some cool. I think it's a feeling of understanding and being part of that world,
Mm.
and their world. It's the way that you get involved in the little story. They're only, for everyone that's not got the book yet, they're only short stories, but you actually get involved in them. And you think, oh, I wish there was more. There's going to have to be a second book to find out how
There
they're
will be.
going.
Yeah.
But what was the least part of it that you didn't like? Because let's face it, it's not easy writing, producing a book, and having to work out ways of getting it out there, for
Mm.
people to be able to see it, to even to get people to put their contributed stories into it. It's not an easy process. So how did you? What was the thing that made you feel a bit negative? Like, because I'm trying to understand for people that want to start something new themselves, be prepared. You're going to have
Yes.
moments where it's not always happy smiles and fun. There are
Yes.
days when you're going to feel fed up and teary eyed because it's not an easy task. So,
Mm. It's not.
what parts
Yeah.
didn't you enjoy?
Well, I was working full time. I was also studying. and I was running, and also I was trying to do this book as well. And then I suppose what was sometimes difficult was I so many people offered stories, but a lot didn't come true. They got delayed, they weren't able to do it. I found that disappointing. So that was disappointing that people were offering you stories or said they would do a story, and then you'd go back to them and you'd hear nothing. Also, what was difficult was the computer crashing nearly drove me mad. That was really, really difficult.
Yeah, frustrating.
It is very frustrating. It was also difficult at times reading the stories because some of them are really sad,
I
you
know.
know, really sad.
I know.
So
I've
reading
had
the
laughter,
stories,
tears all through it.
yes,
It's yeah. I agree. It is
finding a
disappointing.
publisher,
Mm,
actually getting it printed, was difficult as well. Trying to decide who I would go to. One minute I was going to this publisher, next
yeah.
minute I was going to the next publisher, and each time I felt I was being led. Because there was disappointments there. This is the first time I've ever done a book, and I remember, I was so green, I had no idea. And I went someplace and I remember it was to do the cover. And I remember the person was saying to me, but where's the rest of the book? And I was going, but I don't have I felt like a 4-year-old. I went, but I don't have the rest of the book. It's not finished. But I can't do the cover without the rest of the book. And I just felt like a scolded child. And I sat in my car and I cried. And I remember contacting Katrina going, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I should have done this. And she went, no, you were going for the cover and that's not the way it works. So then I went back to another publisher and I finally found this publisher, this printing firm, Real Print in Ennis, County Clare, and they were brilliant to work with.
And the local
They're local. I wanted to make sure it was local to
small
give back, not
business.
only to give back to the animals, but give back to another company here in Ennis.
That's what I did. I always went local. I mean, I could have gone down the road of big publisher and pay $1,000, and
Yeah.
you lose all rights to it as well. That's the other thing I didn't like about it. You lose control somewhere along the line. And I just thought, these printing companies now have access to so many ways of getting it printed, and they do the binding, they do everything. And so therefore, it's easy to do. You don't have to go
Mm-hmm.
through a great big publisher. You've got spell check, you've got, other ways of laying it out and so forth. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's organic. And
Yes,
that's
it
what I
is.
like about it. Like my books are organic. And I can see from my very first to my third where I've changed and
Mm-hmm.
learnt along the way. And this will be the same for you. And I think that's what it's all about. It's understanding the process and taking it all in and getting it all done. And then understanding how long it's going to take. And then when you can pick it up and then you can have it ready for sale and that kind of thing. They are
Mm-hmm.
the difficult processes. That
Yeah.
is the sort of the 3D matrix part of it that you don't want to be involved in, but you're a
Mm.
woman person that's trying to do it all, and it's part of the process. As you go along, you do get better at it, that's for sure.
Mm.
And
I
now
find
I
it
can just quote
interesting.
my page
Yeah.
size and everything. I'll go in and say, yeah, it's 12 by 20 and it's this, that, and it's got this margin and that margin. And when I went into the one here with rainbow coats, the guy actually poked his head up over the laptop that was down at the back of the office. He was the manager, and he was like, "Oh, she knows what she's talking about." For like saying, "Well, it is my third book, and I have learnt by error."
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah. So okay, so that's good. Which character did you connect with most? And that's out of the animals.
Out of the animals. Oh, Bernard the pig.
So did I. I've actually got that. I've got Bernard the pig and a naughty apple stealer.
I just fell in love with Bernard the pig.
I
And
did
one of the
too.
things was I have a brother called Bernard that I'm very close to. But this Bernard the pig was just so cheeky. And when you see his picture,
Yeah,
he's not that handsome, but he is beautiful in character.
I know. He's got the most cheekiest character.
Yes,
And when she talks about how, he was just a little baby when they first got
yes,
him and all that, and then he got bigger and bigger, and then he got a bit naughty and he knew when the groceries were being delivered
yes.
and he'd sneak in and get the apples. I thought, oh, this guy's got a bit of character.
He's got, and listening to their conversations, he's very nosy and he listens to their conversations. I
Mm.
just fell in love with Bernard the pig, you know.
That's just amazing. It's funny. Oh, there was a paragraph that stood out to me too on page 10, and that I read to you about, reminding us, to rescue. But there's also the quote that you put here: adopt, don't shop, and save an animal's life. I think that should be a quote for everybody. I
Mm,
love it. I
mm,
think that quote alone speaks volumes. Really, it
yes.
does.
Mm.
It's
So
beautiful.
many people spend so much money, hundreds and hundreds of euros, even up to thousands of euros for designer dogs. And I know there's some people like that need a dog that doesn't shed or anything like that, so they might have to buy that dog. But there's so many beautiful souls inside in rescue centres just looking for a home. And as the book actually says, they gave so much love. I know from Seamus and Jessie was also a rescue dog. Molly wasn't, as it says in the book. Molly belonged to my son, and I took over then when he moved out.
Yeah,
But the love they give, they can just see through your soul. And as I say, Seamus is always right there beside me. I don't know what I would have done.
I love that
Uh,
story.
Seamus.
I just love that story. That was one of my favorites as well. Um, okay, so moving on, I think I'll talk about some of my favorites because I had a few. First of all, I love the way that you put Katrina's story in here. So we got an understanding of the whole process and why, you know, how she'd gone to the reader and she was told she was going to work with horses and then just happened to be driving along in her little sports car. And as she said, her life was so different. Here she was going off to the shops and she was in a sports car and then she saw the horse in the paddock on a 3-inch rope or something. And it was just horrific, and she
Mm,
rescued that horse, and then she realized there was some work to be done here in this area, and she gave up that other life and
yeah.
continued on these beautiful rescues, and actually ended up on her own with the help of her loved ones around her purchasing land. And I thought that really sort of took us into what the book is really, the purpose of the book, and I thought that was really good. And then your story of growing up, I love it. I relate to your mum and dad, like my mum and dad. Like your
Oh
mum
wow.
was Joan, my mum was Joan, your dad was a mechanic, my father was a mechanic. So it's just,
Wow.
there's just so much there that I could relate to, and the stories you were telling me. And it was like we were sitting there having a cup of tea, just talking about your childhood and how your dad rescued the dog by doing mouth to mouth. Well, my brother
Yes.
used to do that. He bred budgies and he used to give the budgies mouth to mouth.
Wow.
The whole story was just how you grew up and learned to respect and love animals, and it's carried you through life. And I just thought this takes us on a journey. Your two main characters of the book, the writer and the animal rescuer, and
Mm,
how you both grew up or how it came about. And that was really good because that was the beginning of the book, and then you had us in it. We were
yes.
there now. We're sort of really into the stories. I love Granddad Joe.
Oh,
And
I love that story as well.
Granddad Joe, it made me cry about the
Mm,
horses and
yes.
how the one that got me was the one where they had the stallion and he went and sat down in the paddock or wherever they had him at the time, and he sat there for hours until the
Mm,
horse trusted him and then went up to him. And I was like, oh, and the little girl telling the story from a distance and how she saw it through her eyes, and it was
yes.
Oh,
Fabulous.
the tears
Even his funeral.
face. And then when he passed away,
Yes.
I won't
Yeah.
ruin that part of it because
Yeah.
that was incredible. That was like, this could be made into a movie.
Yes.
It was such a
Fabulous.
good. Oh, um, then Bernard the pig stealing the apples. Um, Fergus the donkey,
Yes.
and how he healed himself by being told that he could do this and get off the meds.
Absolutely.
That that was really good. Um, and then your story with Jesse, Molly, and Seamus.
Yeah.
That was beautiful because, like you said, they were there to rescue you as much as you rescued
Them.
Seamus. And the
Mm.
interesting thing is, the same thing happened to me with my cat, Spice. I got her about a year before my mum passed, and I used to take her as a kitten up to the rest home that my mum was in. And everyone there loved it, all the elderly ladies, and oh, is the kitten coming today? And I said, no, I've come straight from work, but I'll bring her up in the weekend, and it was a real joy for them to have this little kitten there. And same for mum. And then mum
Mm.
passed. And that cat, if I hadn't had that cat, I don't know how I would have got through because she rescued me at that time because
Mm.
I was living on my own. I was in Brisbane. I was thrown into a brand new high ranking job looking after a president of the company. So it was a real high powered job and lost mum, but I had this beautiful cat at home and she
Mm.
was beautiful and she helped me get through. She gave me the strength to carry on. But
Yes.
when she got sick and she passed away, and I think she took all my pain and my hurt and agony, and then she had to go because she'd done her job.
Yes.
So, you know, we understand the stories of these animals and how they come into our lives and they be a certain part of our lives and then they go again. And it's like I said, sometimes they rescue us. We're not just rescuing them, they come to help us at a certain time in our lives. And, the way that you said about Seamus coming in and cuddling up to you in the bed and everything. And it was just beautiful. It was just lovely. So,
And he still does that. He always does that. If I'm any bit down or quiet, he will always, in the nighttime, he crawls up along here and he lie down my shoulder if I move in the bed. And then when I've settled, he goes back down to the end of the bed.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. Um, and it's funny how you said they touch you, with their paws to let you know, hey, it's okay, we're here. Well, my
Yes.
girls do that too. They always do that. I mean, there's so many. I don't want to give away so many of the stories because there's so many good. For a small book, it's got a
Yes.
combination of really good stories in it. And but I'll show you Seamus and Molly. So that's Seamus and Molly.
Lovely.
Look at them. Aren't
Have to
they
groom him.
just? Look at the boy.
Yeah.
Molly.
My main men and my woman. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just gorgeous. And it's good that, you have got the photos in here. And there's Fergus, the donkey that healed
The
himself. Now,
donkeys.
is
Yeah.
he the one on the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fergus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. So that's Fergus. Um,
And Bernard. Show Bernard.
oh yeah, where's Bernard? He's at the back, isn't he? There's old Bernard.
What a handsome little boy.
Look
He
at
is gorgeous. Look at him.
those apples. Where
You
did you put them?
Oh, he's nosy Bernard.
But there's some cool stories from all around the world. I noticed Val has put one in here in the squirrels. Now, for people like me that live in New Zealand and Australia, we don't get squirrels.
Right.
So that makes it really interesting to hear about the squirrel. And Teresa, who's also got her story in her and the love of animals. Now, Teresa's also doing the same here in New Zealand. I'm trying to help support her. She does an animal retreat and she ends up getting all these stray cats that are pregnant
Mm.
and ends up with all these kittens. And now she's getting to a point where she knows how to work the process and help them find homes. But she nurses them first, and gets them
Mm.
up to strength and then human contact. And then she'll find homes for them. And she's doing natural products like these essences and oils and
Beautiful.
things. And that's how she funds what she's doing.
And
Uh,
what's the name of her place?
it's called Noah's Animal Retreat.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Um, so her story is in here too, people. Uh,
Yes.
is there anything else you want to add, huh?
No, just that it was beautiful to do the book. The stories were really warm and they can be read to a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, or a 4-year-old. So it's for any age group and all funds. So all sales of the book go straight to Katrina and her animal sanctuary.
I'd love to get her on actually and hear her story in person because it's a good one. And it gives people hope that sometimes you can be told something and you just think, oh no, it will never happen. Yet, if it's your destiny, it will happen and
Mm,
it'll find you
absolutely.
some way. If you are
Mm.
meant to be doing something in this life as a purpose, it will find you. So all proceeds go to the Hilltop Sanctuary. So how do
Yes, in
they,
County.
if they can't get the book or not sure, how do they get the book, the purchase process, or donation process?
Okay. So they can contact me on my email address. So it's Johanna Treacy, JohannaTreacy 63 at gmail.com. So if they can contact me, email me and give me their address, I can send it out to them and I can give them Katrina's PayPal address or Revolut, how to pay Revolut.
Okay, no, that
And if they're local, they can come into the office. Like if they're around Ennis, they can actually come into my office here on the Kilrush Road and the books are here. Or they can, as I say, email me and it can be posted any place in Ireland for €15. And then if it's going outside Ireland, I would let them know how much the postage would
and you
be.
post it internationally. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and do you have a lot on hand? How many do you have at the moment in supply?
I have about 30 here that can go out. And I ordered another 50 a couple of weeks ago and they're ready within a few days.
I had to do that with my first book. Yeah, I got 50 and then I had to order another 50. It's crazy
Absolutely.
because people hear about it or they see it and I go, oh, I want a copy of that too. And that's what I said about this book. It's a nice fine one. So you can put it
Yeah.
in a backpack or something like that if you're traveling, you want to read it.
Mm.
Grandchildren, you can take it to
Yes.
school for school projects.
Mm.
It's flexible. It's not going to bend and buckle. It's got
No.
big wide print if you've got
Yes.
sight vision.
Read it. Yeah.
It's very good. It's written clearly spaced out,
Mm.
because a lot of people do have issues with their sight and they struggle with the smaller print. So I thought that was excellent. Also,
Yes.
what I liked about it, which is different, is the shiny pages.
Yes.
It's nice and clean.
It is clean, and I wanted the writing to be a little bit bigger because sometimes even myself, I'll pick up a book and I'm thinking, God, I can barely read that book. So I want someone to actually look at it without actually squinting their eyes.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, it's beautiful. And it's also I see it's got the PayPal details in the back here
Yes.
on the last
Page.
page.
Mm.
So that's good too. Anything else you want to add before we finish up?
I'm hoping, like you said at the beginning, to maybe do a second book.
Yes.
Um, yes, before Christmas, maybe to get more stories. So around March or April, or if there's anyone interested who's listening to this that has a story that would like to send it to me. And then I'm also going to do a little pocketbook, and it's going to be called Rescue Tail Remedies. So
Oh,
it's going to be natural remedies for all our little four-legged or two-legged little souls.
do you have something for fleas, like a natural remedy? Because I don't like how people are spraying and powders and
Yeah.
things on their pets.
There's you can use castor oil. Put castor oil in a dog. You know, coat the animal's coat in castor oil, and that's a natural remedy for actually fleas. And then a really good parasite, a very simple parasite remedy is to grind up some nuts, pumpkin seed
I
nuts.
can
So
see.
grind it, yeah, pumpkin seed nuts. It's a natural remedy for humans as it is for actually animals. And if you grind up some pumpkin seed nuts and actually put it into their food, it's a natural parasite cleanser.
Well, there we go, folks.
With no side effects.
You heard it here. Thanks again for your wonderful service and thanks for coming on. I'm happy to be able to help with your service and get the message out because it's not just you, it's the animals and the people involved with the animals and the stories and the rescues. And this is something that we need to expand on. As we start to grow and be more conscious of what's happening out there, we need to be able to see and give people hope that they
Yes.
too, if they want to go down that road, both you and I have come from different backgrounds and we've written books now and that in its own is an achievement as that's why I asked you, you know, what motivated you, how easy, how hard, you know, because it is an interesting journey. But when I always remember the final stage of it was when I went down to the printer, I opened the box of books and I just burst into tears
Yes.
because
Mm.
people don't realize just how much of your energy and your time goes into that book. And to see the final result is just incredible to say, I did this, I created
Yes.
this. And so,
Mm.
if anyone else wants to do this as a form of some sort of donation income for their retreats or other maybe projects they're on, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to help you. I
Yes.
remember when you were getting stuck, and I said, go to a local printer. You know,
Mm.
don't worry, I've had this happen to me as well. You'll get there, you know. And so, you know, we're here to help. And this is
Mm.
why I thought it was really important because I'm really in awe of the fact that you came up with this and
Yes.
these beautiful animals. It's just so different. You don't see anything like that. And they're real stories. They're not made up
Yes.
stories. This is
Mm.
in the real world, you know, happening across the world. And it's been good for the people that have put the stories in because they've had to recall certain parts of their childhood and they're happy memories, you know, that you can feel well, you get taken back in time, like when you were talking about your mum and dad in the kitchen and it
Yes.
was a cold winter's night and your dad made the incubator for the puppy
Yes.
and I was like, I'm there, I'm in that kitchen. That's a 1960s kitchen, you know.
Yes.
It's cold and it's windy and it's probably snowing at your place whereas we get wind and rain here. And I could really relate to it because we had central heating and we had when the power and that went out and on some of those terrible nights we had the central heating and mum used to put the pot on the heating to heat up the water. So, you know, I could really rate, and that took me back to my childhood memories. So I really appreciate that. It was good.
Lovely.
So thank you for joining me, and I wish you all the best and success with this beautiful book and the rescue of more animals.
Yes.
So do take care, and we look forward to receiving a second one from you.
And
No
thanks a
pressure.
million for doing this. Thank you for doing this. And no pressure. No pressure.
All right. Take care. Thanks a lot.
God
Bye.
bless. Bye bye. See you. Bye bye.